You are watching Mind Crafters. In this video, we'll help you understand the difference between mental burnout and anxiety. You'll learn how to spot the signs, why mistaking one for the other delays healing, and what you can actually do to recover for real. In the chaos of modern life, we often blur the line between being overwhelmed and being unwell. When your mind feels foggy, your body tired, and your emotions unpredictable, is it anxiety or is it burnout? To move toward healing, we must start by understanding the distinction. Burnout is not just about being tired. It's a state of chronic emotional and physical depletion caused by prolonged stress, especially in high responsibility or high pressure roles. The World Health Organization, WHO, defines burnout as an occupational phenomenon, not a medical condition. It has three primary components. 1. Extreme fatigue and energy depletion. 2. Mental distancing or cynicism toward one's job or life roles. 3. A sharp decline in personal performance and motivation. Burnout is more common than most realize. A 2023 study by Deloitte found that 77% of professionals have experienced burnout, with nearly 42% citing lack of support as a contributing factor. Anxiety, however, is a mental health disorder rooted in anticipatory fear, hypervigilance, and mental overactivation. According to the DSM-5, generalized anxiety disorder, G.A.T, involves excessive, uncontrollable worry occurring on most days over a period of at least 6 months, often accompanied by symptoms like restlessness or feeling on edge, trouble concentrating, sleep problems, muscle tension, constant anticipation of worst-case scenarios. The World Mental Health Survey, 2023, reports that over 301 million people globally suffer from anxiety disorders. The condition is most prevalent among young adults, especially those aged 18 to 34, a demographic deeply affected by digital overload and societal expectations. As Dr. Susan David, Harvard psychologist, puts it, burnout is the slow drip of too much for too long. Anxiety is the mental storm of everything that could go wrong, all at once. Burnout doesn't always announce itself with a crash. More often, it sneaks in quietly, draining your energy, dulling your motivation, and making even small tasks feel monumental. While anxiety speeds you up with racing thoughts and hyperactivity, burnout slows you down. It's not about panic, it's about emptiness. 1. Emotional numbness. One of the clearest signs of burnout is emotional blunting. You don't feel excited, inspired, or even upset, just indifferent. It's not that I'm too busy to care. I just don't feel anything anymore. Anonymous respondent, McKinsey Burnout Report, 2023. Burnout strips away your capacity to emotionally engage with things you once enjoyed. Hobbies, relationships, even your own goals. 2. Mental fog and detachment. If you feel like your brain is constantly buffering, you can't concentrate, decisions take longer, and conversations seem to fade, you might be burned out. This isn't forgetfulness. It's cognitive overload caused by sustained stress. According to a 2023 study in Frontiers in Psychology, individuals experiencing burnout show decreased activity in the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for focus, planning, and memory. 3. Cynicism and withdrawal. People experiencing burnout often develop a detached, negative outlook toward their work, social circles, or life in general. They're not just tired, they begin to question the point of everything. A once helpful coworker becomes withdrawn. A loving partner becomes emotionally unavailable. This isn't rudeness, it's collapse. 4. No relief from rest. Unlike regular exhaustion, burnout doesn't go away after a good night's sleep or a weekend off. Dr. Christina Maslach, burnout researcher, notes, burnout isn't just about how you feel, it's about how you function. You lose the ability to recover with normal rest. If you're waking up tired even after 8 hours of sleep and you feel like you're dragging yourself through the day, this is a red flag. Signs of anxiety. not just burnout. If burnout feels like emotional numbness and disconnection, anxiety is its energetic opposite, a constant buzz of worry, fear, and mental overdrive. While burnout is about collapse, anxiety is about chaos. It floods your nervous system with signals that something is wrong, even when everything around you seems fine. Here are the key signs you may be experiencing anxiety, not just burnout. 1. Racing thoughts and what if spirals. Anxiety is characterized by chronic overthinking. You replay conversations, predict disasters, and obsess over outcomes, even when there's no real threat. A 2022 study published in Nature Reviews Neuroscience found that anxiety is strongly linked to hyperactivity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center, making anxious individuals more likely to perceive neutral situations as threatening. 2. Muscle tension and physical restlessness. Do your shoulders always feel tight? Are you constantly bouncing your leg or clenching your jaw? Anxiety manifests in the body as much as the mind, through tension, fidgeting, elevated heart rate, and even stomach issues. The Anxiety and Depression Association of America, ADAA, reports that nearly 80% of people with anxiety experience physical symptoms, often misattributed to fatigue or poor posture. 3. Sleep disturbances. People with anxiety often struggle to fall asleep or wake up in the middle of the night with racing thoughts. Burnout causes tiredness. Anxiety causes insomnia. Even when your body is tired, your mind refuses to shut down. A 2023 meta-analysis in The Lancet Psychiatry confirmed that anxiety is one of the strongest predictors of chronic sleep problems, often reinforcing a vicious cycle. Unlike burnout, where motivation disappears, anxious people often overfunction, trying to control every detail, over-prepare, or strive for unattainable perfection to calm their internal panic. As Dr. Brené Brown writes, perfectionism is not the same thing as striving to be your best. It's the belief that if you look perfect and do everything perfectly, you can avoid shame, judgment, and blame. The overlap. When burnout triggers anxiety, and vice versa. Although burnout and anxiety have distinct roots, they often feed into one another, creating a cycle that's hard to break. Many people don't suffer from just one or the other. They live in the in-between, where emotional depletion and chronic worry coexist. Let's break down how that happens and why it matters. Burnout can lead to anxiety. Imagine you're constantly pushing through your limits, emotionally drained, disconnected, and exhausted. You've lost your sense of purpose and can't find joy in what you do anymore. At first, this feels like burnout. But soon, your mind starts panicking. What if I can't keep up? What if I never bounce back? What if I lose everything I've worked for? A 2022 study in occupational health science found that chronic burnout increases the risk of developing anxiety disorders by up to 68%, particularly in professions with high emotional labor, like teaching, healthcare, and caregiving. When your body is depleted and you can't function normally, your brain interprets that as danger, triggering an anxious response. Anxiety can lead to burnout. On the flip side, people with anxiety tend to overfunction. They overthink, overcommit, and push themselves past healthy limits to feel safe and in control. This hypervigilance can go unnoticed because it often looks like productivity until it becomes chronic. Eventually, the body and brain crash and burnout takes over. Neuroscientists at the University of Toronto, 2023, discovered that chronic anxiety activates the same neural pathways as physical pain, leading to cortisol overload, immune dysfunction, and mental fatigue over time. The burnout-anxiety loop. This is the dangerous overlap. Burnout strips your energy. Your mind panics. Anxiety pushes you to overdo. Your system collapses, and the loop continues. As Dr. Gabor Mate explains, the body says no long before the mind is willing to listen. This feedback loop leaves many people trapped in a cycle of stress, exhaustion, and fear, unsure which condition came first and unsure how to escape either. Getting the diagnosis wrong, or ignoring the signs altogether, isn't just a minor mistake. It can delay healing, worsen symptoms, and even reinforce the very conditions you're trying to escape. Burnout and anxiety require very different interventions, and treating one like the other often leads to more frustration than relief. You can't meditate your way out of burnout. If you're burned out, your nervous system isn't overactive. It's fried. You're not wired with panic, you're emotionally flatlined. Trying to solve burnout with meditation, breathing exercises, or journaling, tools typically used for anxiety, often backfires. Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith, author of Sacred Rest, explains, burnout recovery isn't just about relaxation. It's about restoration. You need emotional, sensory, and creative rest, not just silence. You don't need to calm your mind. You need to refuel your life. You can't rest your way out of anxiety. On the flip side, people with anxiety often think rest will fix everything. A weekend off, a digital detox, a long nap. But anxiety is mental overactivation, not physical exhaustion. It doesn't go away by doing nothing. It needs interruption, redirection, and cognitive restructuring. According to the UK-based charity Anxiety UK, rest without mental reframing can actually intensify anxious rumination, giving the brain more space to spiral. You're not tired. You're tense, and your mind needs training, not just downtime. Misdiagnosis equals misdirection. When you treat anxiety like burnout, you feel guilty for not relaxing enough. When you treat burnout like anxiety, you feel broken because nothing's working. A 2023 survey by Mindshare Partners revealed that over 60% of employees who self-identified as anxious were actually experiencing undiagnosed burnout, leading to ineffective coping strategies and worsening mental health. The first step toward recovery isn't medication, therapy, or rest. It's clarity. Knowing what you're actually dealing with makes all the difference. Let's talk about real-world scenarios. How burnout and anxiety show up differently. Sometimes the easiest way to understand complex emotional experiences is through stories, not statistics. Let's meet two people. On the outside, they both look like they're not coping, but under the surface, their struggles are completely different. Sarah, anxious but still functioning. Sarah is a 28-year-old marketing manager. She's always on, replying to emails at midnight, triple-checking every presentation and planning weeks ahead. People describe her as driven, but inside she's exhausted. She can't relax. Her mind races constantly. What if I missed something? What if I fail and they find out I'm not good enough? Why can't I stop thinking? Even when she lies down, her body feels tense. Her jaw aches. Sleep is broken. But she still performs well at work. No one sees the cost. Sarah is not burned out, she's deeply anxious. Her nervous system is in overdrive, fueled by perfectionism and fear of failure. What she needs isn't more rest. It's mental regulation, emotional safety, and cognitive tools to stop the spiral. James, burned out and emotionally detached, James is a 35-year-old teacher. He used to love his job. Now he wakes up dreading it. He drags himself through the day, barely engages in class, and avoids coworkers during breaks. He no longer enjoys his hobbies and hasn't seen his friends in weeks. His inner voice sounds more like this. I just don't care anymore. What's the point? Even if I rest, I still feel empty. James isn't anxious. He's burned out. He's emotionally depleted, disconnected from purpose, and no longer finds joy in what once mattered. What James needs is deep rest, reconnection with meaning, and permission to step away from chronic overgiving. These stories highlight a key truth. Anxiety often hides behind high performance. Burnout often hides behind withdrawal. The symptoms may look similar from the outside, But the healing path is completely different. Healing strategies. What works for burnout versus anxiety? Once you've identified whether you're dealing with burnout or anxiety, or both, the next step is to take action. But here's where most people get stuck. They try random coping techniques without knowing what problem they're actually solving. Let's break down the healing strategies that actually work and why they're different. If you're burned out, you need to restore, not just relax. Burnout isn't solved with a nap. You need active restoration, the kind that fills what's been chronically depleted. Dr. Sandra Dalton-Smith identifies 7 types of rest necessary for full recovery, including emotional, creative, social, and sensory rest. Here's what works. Rebuild boundaries. Say no. Log off. Step away from roles or tasks draining your energy. Reconnect with purpose. Reignite meaning in small ways. Volunteering, journaling, creative outlets. Engage in restorative routines, gentle movement like walking or yoga, nature exposure, and unplugged weekends. Nervous system repair. Prioritize deep sleep, hydration, and parasympathetic activating practices like body scans or warm baths. And most importantly, stop trying to perform while recovering. Burnout recovery isn't about being better tomorrow. It's about slowly refilling what was emptied over time. If you're anxious, you need to interrupt the thought loops. Anxiety thrives in silence. You need mental tools, not just comfort. The most evidence-based approach? Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, proven to reduce anxiety by helping reframe intrusive thoughts and challenge false beliefs. Here's what works. Breathing techniques. Practice diaphragmatic or box breathing to regulate your physical state. Thought labeling. Write down your anxious thoughts and label them. Fear, projection, judgment. Then reframe. A scheduled worry time. Set aside 10 minutes a day to worry intentionally, then move on. A progressive exposure. Gradually face feared situations or outcomes to prove your survival brain wrong. A limit stimulation. Reduce caffeine, social media scrolling, and late-night screen time. Anxiety isn't cured by rest. It's managed by interrupting patterns and retraining your nervous system. When you're both burned out and anxious, sometimes it's not one or the other. You're exhausted, emotionally numb, yet your mind won't stop racing. You feel disconnected from your purpose, but also deeply afraid of failing, falling behind, or being judged. This isn't just burnout. And it's not just anxiety. It's both. As Dr. Ariel Schwartz, clinical psychologist, explains, burnout is the body's way of shutting down after prolonged anxiety. But anxiety doesn't just disappear. It keeps firing in the background even when you're too tired to act on it. Why it happens. Burnout and anxiety often coexist because they trigger each other. Anxiety leads you to overthink, overcommit, and overfunction. That leads to exhaustion and emotional depletion, burnout. But once burned out, the mind starts to panic about not keeping up. That panic re-triggers the anxiety cycle, and the loop continues. A 2023 study by the National Institute of Mental Health found that nearly 60% of individuals with burnout also meet clinical criteria for anxiety, especially in caregiving professions and high-pressure environments. How to heal when you're dealing with both. If you're experiencing both, you need a hybrid strategy that focuses on calming the mind while restoring the body, in that order. Here's a 3-phase roadmap. Phase 1. Stabilize your nervous system. Before tackling your to-do list or deep emotional work, calm your system. Try grounding techniques. 5 to 4, 3, 2, 1 method. Sensory focused. Use breath to regulate. 4 to 7, 8, or box breathing. Limit triggers. Caffeine, noise, chaos, social media. Phase 2. Prioritize emotional recovery. Once your system is calmer, focus on slow, deliberate restoration. Reduce responsibilities or take a temporary leave if possible. Engage in low-demand joy, music, art, walks, Non-performance hobbies. Begin rebuilding emotional connection. Therapy, storytelling, journaling. Phase 3. Rebuild structure. Gently. As energy returns, introduce healthy routines without pressure. Simple planning. 3 small goals a day. Safe exposure to stress, short tasks, social interactions. Cognitive tools to manage anxious thinking. Dr. Kristen Neff reminds us, you can't hate yourself into healing. You need kindness, structure, and space, all at once. This dual recovery path isn't linear. You'll have days when anxiety spikes and energy dips. But the key is compassionate consistency, not perfection. Section 9. Ending. Reassurance and amp. Motivation. If you've made it this far, you're already doing something most people never do. You're paying attention to your inner world. You're asking better questions. And that's where real healing begins. The truth is, your exhaustion is valid. Whether it's burnout, anxiety, or both, your body and mind are not betraying you. They're communicating with you. And what they're saying is, I've been carrying too much for too long without enough care in return. Let's recap the core message. Burnout is emotional depletion. You feel nothing, not everything. Anxiety is emotional overload. You feel everything, all at once. Mislabeling these conditions leads to misguided recovery attempts. Burnout needs reconnection. Anxiety needs reframing. If you're facing both, start with nervous system regulation, then rebuild slowly. As therapist Nedra Glover-Tawwab says, healing doesn't mean the damage never existed. It means it no longer controls you. You don't have to fix everything overnight. You don't need to become a productivity machine again. You just need to give yourself space to breathe, tools to rebuild, and the kindness you often reserve for others. If this video resonated with you, don't just scroll away. Pause. Reflect. Journal. Or better yet, share it with someone you care about. Because chances are they're struggling too, and they don't know the difference either. This is Mind Crafters, where your healing doesn't have to be loud, perfect, or quick. It just has to be honest. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on the next video in our Overthinking and AMP Anxiety series. Together we can learn to quiet the mind and create space for more peace and clarity in our lives.